Just so you know, this show is about scary stuff. So don't say I didn't warn you guys. And remember, don't be scared.
Episode 72, Dying Words. War Baby here with another episode of Murderous Minors. There are some spots in America where we typically can't fathom violent crime taking place, like Amish country. When you envision the landscape of the parts of Pennsylvania where the Amish, Pennsylvania Dutch, Mennonites, and other sects mingle with the regular folk they call the English, jealousy, stalking, and murder don't comfortably coexist within that thought. We look at it as a simple place, serene and scandalous, leaving the more complicated parts of life to their counterparts on the other side. Many English live and raise their families alongside those in Amish country, leading parallel yet intersecting lives with neighbors so different from themselves, and it's always been that way. This week on Murderous Minors, we visit Lancaster County, Pennsylvania, home to the largest population of Amish in America, and the tragic events which took place just before Christmas 1991. Pennsylvania Dutch country provides the backdrop to the life of 16-year-old Laurie Michelle Show, born January 27, 1975. She was a wildly energetic kid, known for her love of swimming and fishing and her propensity for breaking bones. Being recognized as dyslexic helped propel her studies to greater heights, but also left Laurie with that nagging feeling that she was different. After a few turbulent years between mother and daughter, emotions began to level out, and Laurie and her mother left behind the only house she'd known yet. Even with the divorce, Laurie's dad was still just a phone call away and close enough that the duo were able to remain a part of each other's lives. Laurie spent ample time with her dad and her grandparents nearby. Her grandfather had been the area's local doctor and also the county coroner, so Laurie's father was familiar with gore and violence and medical emergencies and death. He had seen enough of that with his own two eyes as his father's sidekick to know that a life dedicated to medicine would not be for him. Laurie daydreamed of being a model or a cosmetologist and loved fried chicken. She played on a softball league which her father coached and was managing her studies, but the move to the new condominium in 1990 wasn't all rosy. Laurie worked part-time like many teens, but she used her earnings to contribute to her household and help with expenses. She and her mother had even worked together at a teddy bear shop, and Laurie amassed a respectable collection. She also had a boyfriend, and it was through him that Laurie's path would cross with Lisa Michelle Lambert and Lawrence Yunkin. The couple had dated on and off since the summer of 1989 when Lawrence was a lifeguard at his apartment complex pool and Lisa showed up with her younger brother. Their attraction was instant and their relationship began in the typical way, with movies and outings and meeting up with his family. Lisa Lambert said that Lawrence, whom she called Butch, preferred her middle name and she became Michelle after they became exclusive. Her brown hair became blonde, her brown eyes blue, and Michelle told people that this is what her new boyfriend liked, this Barbie doll look. He wanted to quit high school in the 11th grade, but his mother absolutely forbade it, and he went on to graduate Lampeter-Strasbourg High School in 1990. Their relationship was volatile, as young love often is. At home, she helped raise her little brothers as her mother suffered miscarriages and then depressive episodes. Michelle didn't graduate from high school because she says that Butch didn't want her associating with boys her age, especially not without him. Instead of attending her junior year, Michelle got her GED. Ultimately, Lawrence's parents' lease was not renewed, and they made it clear that he and Michelle needed to strike out on their own. They had a feeling that the young couple's explosive fights had more than a little to do with their housing situation. Those close to Butch noticed that Michelle sort of nagged him and was jealous and suspicious of his every move. They recall the type of girl who would flail about and wail on him in front of others. Those she confided in heard that he frequently beat her savagely and raped her repeatedly, even sodomizing her on one terrible occasion. Her accusations came years later. It doesn't appear that at the time others were aware of it. There is an instance where she says she was hospitalized, but witnesses and records indicated that it was due to an automobile accident. Michelle basically says that Butch Yunkin terrorized her, controlling everything about their relationship, including who she spoke to and their finances. Her parents did see Lawrence acting hostile during one Easter, and the couple were eventually asked to leave. Yunkin had snapped at Michelle's younger brothers and actually hit them. There was a party during which a friend interceded in a fight between the couple. His bravery led Michelle right into his arms. She began to sneak away to be with him, and the affair continued through the summer of 1990. Amid these allegations of infidelity, the couple split and Lawrence went back to living with his parents. He was sick of her jealousy and irrational behavior. She was tired of being accused of being unfaithful and of being physically and sexually assaulted. Michelle begged him to reconcile throughout their time apart, but Butch had already moved on. While Michelle Lambert was grappling with the fact she may be pregnant, her so-called soulmate had begun dating 16-year-old Laurie Show. I say dating loosely because what Laurie told her mother later was that Lawrence Yunkin had raped her. They'd only interacted for 10 days. Then Butch and Michelle got back together once the pregnancy was announced, and Laurie Show wasn't sad about it. She was young and had other things to keep her busy. Theirs were grown-up problems. When Michelle called the Show's condo to inform Laurie and her mother that she was expecting Butch's child, everyone agreed that they should part ways. 2 days after Michelle turned 19, the police served her with notice that her parents were banning her from their home, accusing her of having stolen from them. And they did not approve of the relationship, since their daughter had not only accused Butch of abusing her, but they'd seen on Easter that he could even be violent with their younger children. Laurie's parents didn't want 20-year-old Butch around their 16-year-old daughter either, and her mother even picked up on an extension to tell Michelle herself over the phone. She harassed Laurie at work, fixated on the fact that this girl had stolen her man's attention, even if it was for less than 2 weeks. Michelle had the courage to harass Laurie even when her parents and other adults were around. She and Laurie's dad once got into a screaming altercation outside the local mall. The teen was scared and even grew apologetic about having ever been involved with Michelle's boyfriend, and besides, she was dating a new boy as well, making her care even less about Butch Yunkin. East Lampeter, Pennsylvania police intervened on numerous occasions, but no charges were brought until a 6 months pregnant Michelle attacked Laurie at her workplace. All of Michelle's thoughts and energy went into finding a way to humiliate Laurie like she felt she had been humiliated. As the story goes, Michelle just wanted to get Laurie out in public and cut pieces of her hair off, so she devised a plan, calling Laurie's mother ahead of time to schedule a sit-down, pretending to be a counselor from Conestoga High School. On December 20th, 1991, Laurie's mother went to the planned meeting place and waited, leaving after less than 10 minutes. No one had shown up to greet her, and it was around 7 in the morning, so she hurried home. It was a Friday and the last day of school before the beginning of Christmas vacation. The night before, police had come to the Show condo to let them know they had yet to serve Michelle Lambert that warrant for assault. They spoke to Laurie's mom while she had been helping her dad load a truckload of poinsettias, and Butch Yunkin was taking Michelle to Kmart and then to their friend Tabby's. While Michelle was in their friend's apartment, Butch looked in the bag and saw that she had purchased rope and a black ski hat. Around 6 a.m. the following day, Friday, December 20th, the pair had picked up their friend, 17-year-old Tabitha Buck, before Butch dropped the girls at Laurie Show's condo. He was to wait at McDonald's and return in 30 minutes. According to Butch, he thought Laurie's mom would be home too, so he wasn't suspicious and didn't ask any questions. After circling the complex multiple times, he ended up seeing them partially obscured by some bushes. He didn't ask them what happened when they got in either. Laurie's mom wasn't in the condo. She'd been lured away to that fake school conference, unknowingly leaving her daughter susceptible to an assault. While she was gone, Laurie Michelle Show was violently attacked in her home and murdered in her bedroom. Blood splatters stained the walls, and clumps of hair that had been cut from Laurie's head lay on the bedroom floor. This had been a brutal confrontation. Her telephone had been pulled from the wall, its cord now spiraled around her leg. Defensive wounds covered her hands and arms. A 5-inch gaping slash traversed her neck, cutting through her Adam's apple but not damaging her vocal cords. Multiple bruises and many small stab wounds covered her body. A penetrating stab to the back contributed to her eventual death. Laurie's mother returned home to a horrifying welcome. Her neighbor asked what the commotion upstairs had been, causing her to frantically try and get to her daughter. When the pair were reunited for the final time, Laurie was still alive, and her mother used the knife she found underneath her daughter's body to cut away the length of rope that had been tied around her neck. Some of the last words the woman would ever hear her daughter say were, "Michelle did it." Everyone close to Laurie immediately thought of Michelle once they heard she had been harmed. Her parents screamed at the police on the scene, wanting to know why it had been a month since the assault, yet Michelle Lambert was still walking around free to ambush and murder their child. Police picked up their search for Lambert and Yunkin. Word of the murder hit the news, and parents all around East Lampeter Township were hearing what happened. After dropping Tabby at school around 9 a.m., Lawrence and Michelle went home and washed the clothes the girls had been wearing. Lawrence's parents were looking for him just as hard, but police found the couple that evening after getting a tip from a friend who worked at a bowling alley in nearby Strasburg. They were hastily taken into custody, with police realizing that Tabby Buck came with the pair after inquiring about a deep scratch to her face. Once her mother arrived at the station, the interview with the juvenile suspect could commence. Basically, all three started off telling a remarkably similar story. They all ended with